Hello. Today's episode number 116 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses 5 ways Nevada leads the world's gaming industry, along with a word or two about state election results for approving sports betting and more. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. island territory of American Samoa. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it on my last episode, I went over the world's oldest slot strategy from my weekly live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Further, I reviewed Alaska slot machine casino gambling in 2020. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Here's the audio recording of my latest live stream Q&A session. Hello, slots enthusiasts. How are you? My name is John Friedel. Welcome to Professor Slots, a channel that helps you master casino slots so you can win your way to success. It's great to see you all here again for another Professor Slots podcast episode and live stream. If you're with us live, be sure to say hello and ask your slots-related questions. I'll get to those a little later in the show. Today we'll be diving into how the leadership coming out of Nevada's gaming industry matters to the world's gaming industry, including slots. I know that we are, there's a few changes that I've technically gone through this last week, so you may notice I'm a little closer and maybe the colors are a little bit different and in the video. Hopefully the audio will still come clear for everyone later, but there's been some technical upgrades and hopefully you'll be seeing less of my chin now and it's just minor changes. It may be that the national scene today, that this is perhaps not the best time to have a live stream, but it was scheduled. And, if you've got other things you want to keep track of, at this point, I completely understand. Do what you need to do. This recording will be available, although the live stream will not, live chat will not be available later. So, if you got something to do, don't worry about it. I'm always appreciative of you being here. And so welcome. When thinking about, when thinking about gambling in the U.S., most people's minds will gravitate towards the city of Las Vegas, with all its lights, glamour, and casinos. While much has changed with regards to the gaming industry in the last 10 years, with so many more casinos available closer to home for most people, at the same time, Nevada's gaming reputation as an innovative leader remains true. Let's discuss how Nevada provides and maintains this leadership role despite no longer being the epicenter in the U.S. for real gambling itself. Taking a step back for a moment, welcome, Linda. I'm glad you caught me live, too. That's a great thing about live. I can respond to chat. But taking a step back for a moment, however, why is Nevada's leadership role important to us slots enthusiasts? Even those that are not in Nevada don't gamble in Nevada and may not even be in the United States. And maybe in an international, what we'd call an international gaming jurisdiction. It's because Nevada is a world leader, and we can learn things from Nevada that will may be the future for your state gaming regulations or tribal gaming compacts, because there's such a strong connection between all of this. So this is the point I'm trying to make today. Election results matter. Your state may have had something on the ballot. I'll get to this, but your state may have had something on the ballot, and it looks like may have only been sports betting. And we'll get to all this, but Nevada has an impact on all of us worldwide on its leadership role and its experience. So let's get into that, and we'll talk some more about election results for gambling. items, issues, amendments, constitutional amendments to the state constitutions, and we'll get to that in a moment. But as I've mentioned, for example, you are a slots enthusiast. You, as a slots enthusiast, can take advantage of your gaming jurisdiction's public reporting of actual return statistics, assuming they offer them for your state, to improve your baseline odds of winning. If you want to know what direction your gaming regulations might be heading towards in preparation of these changes, it is essential you understand how Nevada's example to others constitutes a leadership role for other legislatures and gaming board commissioners. So let's talk a little bit about the U.S. gaming industry and how it's been expanding. Since kind of 1978. Thank you, Linda. Linda has given a super chat, $10 donation to the channel to support the channel and keep my business afloat. Thank you, Linda. So as I was saying, she also says, for those of you in the podcast, thank you for education. You're welcome, Linda. First, a brief history lesson. Before May 26, 1978, the only legal casinos in the U.S. were those available in the state of Nevada. For many years after May 26, 1978, that's when Atlantic City's first casino opened. U.S. casinos existed only in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and within the state of Nevada. A nationwide scarcity of casinos lasted until the Federal Indian Gaming Regulatory Act of 1988, something I'll be talking about in the future, which was quickly followed by 1989 by Iowa's legalizing the first riverboat casinos by state law. So new state gaming regulations allowing casino gambling in other states occurred later that same year. These early adopters include South Dakota legalizing gambling in Deadwood, as well as Illinois and Indiana legalizing riverboat casinos there, all during a very busy 1989. The next decade saw this gaming industry expansion grow even faster, with Connecticut, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and other states quickly legalizing casinos by the end of 1993. So 1988 to 1993, wow, what a busy 5 years. Furthermore, legalized casino ship gaming occurred in 1991, while Michigan legalized gambling in the city of Detroit in 1996. And by 1994, 13 states had legalized casinos. So accepting Nevada and possibly New Jersey, saying that these states underwent a steep learning curve would be an understatement. Luckily, the state gaming board commissioners from these states could follow an excellent example, Nevada state gaming regulations. For those interested in more detailed history, see a chronology of legal gaming in the U.S. by George Finich, which documents U.S. gaming regulation developments from gambling sailors on Columbus's ships in 1492 until 1996. I'll add a link to this report to the video description and put it into the podcast show notes. I know from statistics on my channel that I delve into the history because I think that seeing the progression helps us understand what's coming next, particularly in the development of technology, slots technology. But I know from those statistics that you're not really excited about the history of what's going on. So I'll just leave that reference there and we won't dig into it too much. But I'm trying to show you how Nevada is just, its fingerprints are everywhere. So by around the late 1990s, this tremendous and unprecedented gaming industry expansion had sputtered to a near halt. Why? Because states regulate and enforce gambling operations at all non-tribal casinos, and no states had previously established gaming regulations in those states. Prohibitions, yes. Legalization, no. So they didn't know much about doing that. And we can see the consequences. We can still see the consequences of this unpreparedness today. States like Oklahoma have tribal gaming compacts, which are good until perpetuity, with changes only possible if both the tribe and the state agree. So sure, they've agreed to update these compacts to add using ticket in, ticket out technology in place of coins. But how much the state receives in fees and income taxes remains unchanged from the establishment of these tribal compacts back in 1989, 1989, 1990, shortly after the IGRA was approved in 1988. Despite the tremendous growth in tribal gaming in Oklahoma, if you don't think this matters, consider the pressure this has placed on the state legislature, the Oklahoma state legislature, to find more gaming income. While I am not immersed in Oklahoma politics, as I probably should be, given its predominance of having slot machines, it amazes me that the state of Oklahoma limits non-residents to $17,000 in gambling deductions if they gamble in Oklahoma and therefore have to file a state income tax return if they get a W-2G within Oklahoma. So that's right, only $17,000 in gambling deductions for non-state residents gambling in Oklahoma. For several years in a row, I exceeded $100,000 in gambling deductions, which Ohio allowed me to fully deduct. This is not federal stuff. This is it's one rule for federal, but each state decides for state. Ohio allowed me to deduct that full amount when I documented how much I had spent. With that deduction, again, I'm not an income tax professional. Talk to your state, your income tax professional in your state who understands your state rules. But this deduction in Ohio, full deduction, allowed me to only pay taxes on my profits, which seemed fair to me. If I'd been limited to $17,000, I'd have paid thousands of dollars more in state taxes. And just like that, about 10% of my profits would have been eaten away at. And leaving it there. Yet many slots enthusiasts have yet to learn my winning strategies and or find casinos where they can be successfully used at. Those slots enthusiasts from Texas, Louisiana, and other states bordering Oklahoma who also gamble in Oklahoma will have a similar performance, with a similar performance now or in the future that do well enough to break even. Would suddenly have an additional $3,000 or more tax bill. Ouch. We can come back and talk about this some more. It's an annoying problem, but why is this happening? I can understand it'd be an annoying problem, but why is this happening? The point I'm trying to make here is it's one of the consequences of the terms of the early tribal gaming compacts. It's law, and the state is becoming less and less happy now that, it's been 30 years since they were first written. So I sympathize with state negotiations back in 1989 for Oklahoma, because who could possibly know what would happen over the next 30 years? Like the Oklahoma governor's hissy fit back in January, which honestly feels like 10 years ago. But because of its early adoption of gambling, only Nevada had the needed professional expertise to provide assistance with both the regulation and enforcement of gaming regulations. This professionalism wasn't just with regards to the state laws and the legislature that had enacted them, but also with negotiating tribal compacts, which they were doing at the same time as many other states. Why? Because they had and have a large group of academics and attorneys who, for many years, had been challenging Nevada's gaming laws in court. These challenges improved those laws. This resource contributed significantly to an overall refinement of Nevada's gaming laws, as well as the development of a substantial amount of precedents with regards to case law. All this matters, right? because of this valuable decades-long activity, a core of gaming industry specialists were available to help other states and other international gambling establishments, gaming jurisdictions, because Nevada, was able to generate comprehensive gaming regulations and, to help them in other states and other, around the world. So there's an awful lot to say about the gaming industry in Nevada. These dialogues and monologues include quite a few gambling blogs, podcasts, and social media channels devoted to all things Las Vegas. I've recommended them, several of these at other times. Even the newspaper Las Vegas Sun. I'll give you a quote later on from something they had said. So these personalities, and I'll get to the live chat. I see a lot of comments there, which is great. But I'll get to those in a moment when we take a break. When I take a break, but it's nice to see the comments. Ask your questions. So these personalities and for these gambling blogs, podcasts, social media channels devoted to Las Vegas, these personalities and even celebrities appreciate Nevada's leadership role with regards to the gaming industry as well as in the entertainment industry. After all, gambling and entertainment often go hand in hand. But for those people who have never traveled to Las Vegas, they still often know about whatever portion of Las Vegas shows up in movies, like Casino and Next with Nicolas Cage, Casino with Robert De Niro, Next with Nicolas Cage, as well as television shows like CSI Crime Scene Investigations, Pawn Stars, and various shows called Vegas or Las Vegas. So there is another aspect to Las Vegas, which is the perception of Las Vegas. Whether typically far less than accurate, an understanding of gambling in Las Vegas matters. Oh, hey, Chuck, got to interrupt. Chuck has given a $20.04 donation. I think the 4 represents his 4th donation on different shows. And he says it's a super chat. And he says, hello from sunny South St. Louis, everyone. Can't stay. Family stuff this weekend. Understood. We'll catch the replay later. Well, thanks for stopping by, Chuck. I'm glad I immediately noted your super chat so that you could hear that yourself and not in the recording, although you will hear it in the recording. Anyway, thank you so much. I'll share that on my screen now for everyone to see this. Have a good day with family. As we've talked about in the past, family is important. Go take care of what you need to take care of. So we were talking about, many people believe in the glamour of the casino and gambling lifestyle based on what they have heard about Las Vegas, never having been there. So perspectives come from their favorite movies, television series, as well as other online sources like What's Happening in Las Vegas, articles and podcasts. While this is important, this is important when it comes into once a casino opens for nearby these people who have never been to a casino before. When a local casino opens within easy driving distance for individuals that have had no prior experience gambling, I think it's this experience, what they experience they think they have, has been much to do with it. It's an integral part of some of their favorite television shows and movies. However, when it comes time to enter a casino, several preconceived notions can get in the way. For example, they could consider casinos to be high crime areas. Is that CSI over there? Or gamblers often win big. That's one of the things they might think is gamblers often win big without trying too hard. For these individuals, the perception of fictional shows has become a reality for them. It's their only experience. How could it be different? They might expect it to be different, but they don't know what it actually be like. So there can be a steep learning curve to understanding what a real casino environment is like, and as well as understanding and practicing the necessary skills for thriving in a casino environment. So, I got Linda provided a $10 donation a few moments ago, and which is wonderful again, and for thank you for education, because I don't see anybody else really doing the education side of things. That's really my niche. And so, so if you are new to casinos, because one's open nearby, and a lot of my audience are people who are like, well, I want to get ahead of, going back to casinos and understand things better before I, go back or even go for the first time. Kudos to them. Kudos to all of you for being here. Not only thank you, but I think it's a good idea. So people who are new to casinos only have the, media experience. I shouldn't say media so much as television, and news, I suppose a little bit, maybe some podcasts, where, they need to unlearn what they think they know, and then they have to learn it right. This retraining can be expensive. Can be expensive in time, money, and both. In my opinion, the worst circumstance is never entering a casino simply because fictional shows have taught someone to be afraid of them for reasons that don't exist. Another circumstance, nearly as unfortunate, I've already mentioned, having severe misunderstandings about how casinos work. If you don't, which is, I find out, the only reason I'm successful is I find out there's not a lot of people who do. There are some that do. I mean, people join my audience and say, yes, I know some of this stuff because I've looked into it. I just don't have a show. They just take care of it for themselves, and for many years. And, I love talking to those people because we share ideas and et cetera. But, there's plenty of people who are like, what? What do you mean this, that, and the other thing? I've talked about some of the critics that I've had before. And so if you don't understand, let me give you an example. So if you don't understand how to shop at a specific business, many businesses have a sales representative that explains what they have to offer in terms of what you need, right? For example, this is like explaining things on Amazon. Lots of reviews, and there's a whole system in place to help you understand what it is that you might be buying. People who have bought it come back and explain, this, like this, didn't like that. So consider if you'd gone to a pool store to buy a residential pool. The sales rep will explain the differences between above ground and below ground pools, as well as the immediate and long-term costs involved. Now, have any of you had a similar conversation with a casino employee? Anyone? Bueller? You can bet you haven't. My point here is that, even if you did talk to somebody in the casino, they're not allowed, and typically there's some, food service people and some others who are allowed to gamble. But in general, no, they're not allowed to gamble. So how can they give you advice about level of detail having to do with their own casino? Right. So if they could say something, is it accurate? So my point here is that casinos are not going to tell you anything except how to spend money. You can listen to some of the things that are said, take it with a grain of salt, but there are some clues when slot attendants say people have been winning on that machine, you might, and they encourage, and then they'll say, they'll state the fact, and then they'll say, you should go do that. And the first part was interesting. The second part was misleading, because the first part was that machine has been winning. Okay. Was that last night? So maybe I should come back, a 1 week later at that time, when, what day, can you remember, it's it's a day later or something. How does that even apply? So I've tried to teach people, yes, you can get some information from casino employees, like what they've observed, but their interpretation can be off. So you need to sort of listen to what they said and then figure out what it means, not let them tell you what it means. A little bit deep there. Sorry. Some of the stuff that I talk about is I've tried to give tips throughout my shows. And I've gotten some criticisms, constructive criticism about, wow, that was pretty deep. And for those of you who are new to casinos, I can imagine it would be. For those of you who are not new, it's all part of our dynamic and being in the casino environment. But I will still continue to add these tips throughout. So those casino employees that regularly, do we have another one from Joyce? We haven't. We have our first one from Joyce. So let me share that. I think I mentioned in my last show, you're going to have to tell me if that's too annoying of a sound, or maybe I should have something shorter. So our consideration here is casinos don't educate their patrons to gamble well, and television and movies are often unrealistic about the casino environment. All of this is less than useful and at worst dangerous misinformation. It's your responsibility to educate yourself about gambling. That's why many of you brought my book, watch my videos, and listen to my podcast. And as I point out sometimes very specifically with links and discussions about every U.S. state gaming jurisdiction, if you want to educate yourself, a great resource is your state's gaming commission or the gaming commission of the state in which you gamble. And all of them in the beginning were based on Nevada's state gaming regulations before being customized for each gaming jurisdiction. This doesn't just apply to U.S. jurisdictions, but for every gaming jurisdiction in the whole world. So I feel like we're getting close to having a conversation. Usually about halfway through the show, I will swing on over to the live chat and see if we have some questions. I've still got quite a few things to say, half of what I wanted to say. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So a lot of this is from before the show started, which is great. Hey, Paula says, I look good and audio is good. I hope so. You get a new computer with everything and you just like, well, maybe it'll crash. I don't know. I'm glad you were able to make it. Linda K., who gave a $10 donation a few minutes ago, is from San Diego. Love that town. Let's see. Linda says she won $740.02 on her last spin. Great. It was last night at a local casino. Lots of people are giving her thumbs up. That's wonderful. Positive. Okay. She says, bummer, I only needed one spot to win $89,000 on a dollar storm. Nadine says, don't forget to hit that like button. Think of it as a play max button. Thanks, Nadine, for putting that into slots terms. So I'll put that up so everybody can see it. And Cash is here. Nice to see you, Cash, with a K. And Linda says she's very happy to have found my channel. Thank you. I've been working hard on it, and I'm trying to spread the news. I had been doing things for a couple of years. I think last week, did I mention last week? I may not have mentioned last week. October 31st, scary, was 4-year anniversary of launching my business. And I've been on YouTube for a while, but have been doing the live streams for, let's see, Thanksgiving this year. Another couple of weeks will be 1 year of weekly hour-long live streams. That's what I do. First thing I did was write a book. Honestly, I'm backwards. Apparently, it should have been the last thing I did, but first thing I did was write a book about my experiences, and then start a website and start, the podcast and all of that. But it wasn't until I started getting, shall we say, serious about YouTube, to start following some of the YouTube creator blogs and channels to understand how to get the word out that things have really taken off for me. And motivated by has it been 3 months since I was laid off? The company I worked for as an aerospace engineer, PhD in the building, decided to get rid of 1 in 3 people. And, you guys understand odds. They'll make good odds. And I turned out to be one of the people that lost their position. So I've got about a year's worth of savings, and I'm going to see if I can't monetize the job. Anyway, not to get into the job stuff, but it's a tough time for the aerospace for airlines and other people who would use my services. So I'll find something to do for a year, hopefully this, or I go back to a job. There might be one in Phoenix. In the meantime, I got to see if I can make this work. Right. Or lose everything. So do appreciate the donations. Thank you. How's that for a segue? So Dr. Spond says, can you, maybe try to bring that up, show that. Can you explain how to investment for slot machines and sports betting? I'll talk about sports betting in a minute. It's not my niche. One of the things I've learned is, for website, podcast, whatever, you gotta niche down, and just slot machines is my niche. There's actually a lot to do there. I would appreciate a lot more people being in this space. I'm the only one talking about this. Sure, there's people recording their play, and some of them come to the show and are in the live chat occasionally. But hanging with Linda, right? But and others, I try to cover all the different stuff going on. It's a lot. I'm not worried about sports betting. If you want a reference, email me at john@professorslots.com. That's John with Jon, as some know, and let me know. There's a New Jersey website. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, which is really into this, but it's also only in a few states, or at least before the election was only in a few states. We'll see what happens now that so many things are on the ballot. Other questions. So you said explain how to investment for slot machines. Are we talking about stocks? Well, it's like anything else. It's an industry. Start reading the annual financial reports for IGT, for Scientific Games, and there are plenty of others. I have articles on these, which I won't put them up here, but if you go to my website, you can find them. So, yes. So I will. This is my website. I have articles. If you go here and if you go under reviews, this is what it looks like on a desktop. It looks a little bit different on a mobile phone, where this red band is actually kind of like a little couple of white lines, and you have to expand it. But if you go to reviews, you'll find, and I guess I can try to go there for you over here, right? Waiting for it to load. And yeah, so I did a review earlier this year on last year's IGT financial report. It's a major slot manufacturer, if you don't know. And then also Scientific Games. So there's links there that'll take you to the report on Security Exchange Commission. And you can do the usual thing and see if it's worthy of investment, or if some of the other up and coming businesses. There's the world leading. I tried to do the top 2 world leading ones, but there's others out there that may be of interest to people. So that's what I know about investment for these. Right. So. Denise, it has been a while. Wow. She helped get everything started, on the live chat a year ago, and it's wonderful to see her again. Great to see you. Okay. So let me not share that anymore. Okay. So, Linda K says, my bankroll is only $200 per visit. I want to kind of move this along. $200 per visit is a fine amount. It's whatever works. Some people feel concerned about, well, I really have to like put more money into gambling than I care to or have. And that's just a sign of problem gambling, and don't do that. You can just bet less. You won't hear this from a casino. Make smaller bets, and it's just as enjoyable. Chasing the money is just a known thing that you want to try to avoid. So $200 is fine. I have friends who, it's been a while since they've gone. But they used to take like a roll of quarters. $10 worth of quarters, and that's what they had. But that's back when they had coins. Let's see. Terry is here. Hi, Terry. And let's see. Okay. Ray, I know this is off topic, but what older style games like Whales of Cash, Wicked Winnings, that style game do you prefer to play, and what bet the max usually see in 250? Right. So sounds like you're a little new to the show. I don't think the game theme, I know the game theme has nothing to do with winning. There is a couple of things that you can do. Like there's some games out there. I don't remember the name of them. They have like these bubbles. The longer you play it, the more these bubbles are out there. And then people who don't understand those bubbles stay after that player leaves. There's plenty of people who find that as an advantage play and find these partially played machines, and they collect those bubbles, and it's an advantage play. I mean, outside of stuff like that, the particular game may have some feature that extends to this next player. It's rare, but people look for those. Bingo, there's some things on those games which there was some skill, but otherwise 98% of the time, except for using those of you in Oklahoma who have half Class 2 games, 90% of the time, 98% of the time, most of the time, game theme doesn't matter. You can have a whole row. I mentioned this many times, and I'd be happy to mention it many more times. You can have a whole row of slot machines, and they're not set up the same. The one on the end or second from the end that has a view of an open area where lots of people can gather, like a bar or something like that, is set up differently. There's no reason why it wouldn't be. There's no state law that's violated, because the state law doesn't say it must be these odds. It says it must be within this range. And sometimes 100% is the top, but sometimes there's no upper range. And so, it's whatever the casino wants to set up, as long as they don't dip too low in states that say that there's a lower theoretical payout limit. So no, I'm not. I have games that I played where I feel fond of them, but it wasn't because I'm used to them and I like them. It was because the casino I was at had set them up to win, for reasons that we can discuss have discussed in the past. So I have no advice for you. Game themes don't matter. Enough that it's just a couple of percentage points, a couple of things you might be able to do if you look for them, that people, that's all they do at their, those games are available at their local casino, and that's all they do, and that's their advantage play. But the rest of the time, game theme doesn't matter. I'll leave it at that. I already gone too long on it. Some people ask, which ones are my fond of? I'm fond of Wheel of Fortune, but it isn't because I think Wheel of Fortune are winners. It's because I've won so much on a machine that was set up to win at my local casino and happened to be a Wheel of Fortune, whole row of them. Right. Ray says, got a bunch of small amount free plays at a few of the book casinos, at a few of the casinos of Biloxi, just trying to make the most out of nothing. Oh, I just love free play. The way I describe it to people who don't play slots, like some of my coworkers, former coworkers, I would say it's like going to an ATM machine and you're going to make a withdrawal, but you're not sure how much it's going to be. So, you take free play and you see what you get. So yeah, make something out of nothing. So Ray has a last question, and I will see if I can also add this, but get back to our topic. And also, I've been wondering, why do casinos not offer free play 24/7 most of the time. I've seen stop between midnight and 4 a.m. Time. Thank you for taking the time and doing this. So what I do talk about here is casino business practices. Why do you think they want you there at a particular time? Because that's what they're doing. They're putting a time limit on free play so that you are there at a particular time. And, this is like a promotion. This is, they can do things for the crowd that shows up because they're there to get the free play. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good idea to be at a casino when they want you to be there, because there's plenty of things they can do to, lower the odds. Like, it's just well known that Las Vegas, from about 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday to about 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday, it is a terrible time to play slots. Even downtown, it's hardly ever a good time to play slots in the Strip, because that's about taking your money. But during the week, and the week being after 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, before 10 o'clock in the morning on 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday through the 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, that short week, that 4.5 days, that's for locals. And they will raise the odds for locals and lower them for when California comes to visit for the weekend. That's just known. And how can they do that? Because they have to report by week. And we'll get into some of that. They have to report by week. And if they can average out from the weekdays and the weekend to meet the legal limit, they're gold. So keep the locals happy, and visitors, will they even ever be back? So I hope that helps. We've had longer conversations about it, but I want to answer your question. Jingwalk says something here. I'm starting to use the parking lot indicator for my bet size. Fewer cars. Lower bets. That's kind of what we're talking about. What I was just talking about. There's different ways to apply that. Las Vegas, it's just always going to be whenever California shows up. All those people, the casinos will respond to that. But there's also looking at the parking lot. These are things you can look to understand how the business is performing at that time. And like I said, during promotions is not necessarily a good time. I have never found it to be. I can still win sometimes, but it's like I look for something systematic. And when they want me to be there, it's just not a good time. Right. So coming back to our topic, thanks for those questions. Might have some time towards the end, but I want to get through this next portion. So as an example of what Nevada provides, they were the first to legalize sports betting. Nevada's gaming industry leadership role can be seen in the March 14th, 2018 ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, which ended the nearly nationwide ban on sports betting. It was nearly a nationwide ban because only Nevada legally allowed sports betting. That's right. Nevada was always fully exempt from the federal law from 1992, the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act of 1992, PASPA. PASPA, also known as the Bradley Act, which had initially banned sports betting. Again, Nevada's leadership in the gaming industry is not at all new. Officially, the PASPA of 1992 exempted sports lotteries in Oregon, Delaware, and Montana, as well as licensed sports betting pools in Nevada. One component of the law, it provided a one-year opportunity for states with licensed casino gaming to pass laws permitting sports wagering. This portion was meant to include New Jersey, despite their later failing to meet that deadline. So to be clear, the court ruling does not legalize sports betting. Instead, the U.S. Supreme Court said that the PASPA violated the 10th article of the U.S. Constitution. They reasoned that the federal PASPA illegally empowered the federal government to order states to disallow sports gambling. The court ruling on May 14, 2018 removed only this specific application of that empowerment. So now, as with most types of gambling in the U.S., sports gambling will need to be allowed by law in states that wish to legalize sports gambling. And changing state laws can sometimes take a while. Stay tuned to your state's legislature to follow if and when legal sports betting is legally allowed in your state. Sports betting is not an area I focus on. My niche is casino slots. But I feel I need to point out that the Supreme Court ruling was in May 2018. A few states were able to get sports betting on the ballot by November of that year, but most were not. Well, this week was the next opportunity. This week was the November 2020 election, for those of you listening into the future. Ignoring most of what has been happening this week and focusing on something that hasn't gotten a lot of attention yet is most states have gotten voter approval for their sports betting ballots and more. The more part includes residents of the city of Bristol, Virginia, enthusiastically approving the state's first casino to open there. So let's share. So I posted this link for showing this approval in the Virginia Slots Enthusiasts Facebook group. I have one for every state. And so, yes, Bristol voters overwhelmingly approved the Hard Rock Casino. Now, the Hard Rock company apparently decided to take the risk, and they were well under construction even before getting this approval. So, Virginia will have its first casino. Now, there are sports betting. Let's see what else. Colorado has approved updating its state constitution with a host of changes to gambling, from permitting sports betting to lifting the $100 bet limit that was on the three historic frontier towns where you were limited to $100 bet. Doesn't really matter so much on slots machines who makes $500 bets, on a slot machine. They already had $100 bet machines, but there was no way you could have Texas Hold'em. Table games where, you can now bet over $100 in your bet. It sure has an effect on table games. So I still need to research that. Comment below in the video. The live chat doesn't live on past the live stream. Comment below in the video any changes approved in your state. For the podcast listeners, I'll bring that back down. For the podcast listeners, send me an email with any such changes at john@professorslots.com, or John is spelled Jon, or comment in your state's Facebook Slots Enthusiast community. Thanks. Getting back to Nevada's leadership role, the 2018 Supreme Court ruling allows states to develop laws that legally allow sports betting. Only Nevada has had an operational sports betting system for years. Other states now have the opportunity to adopt their sports betting laws based on Nevada's successful application. When I first began researching the gaming industry, I learned something about illegal gambling, which is, it completely astonished me. What surprised me was how common it was, along with how much money was involved. Did you know that illegal gambling is a $150 million per year industry? In the U.S., this is mostly from unlawful wagering of professional and amateur sports. States losing its associated income tax revenue is highly relevant to, state budgets, which are straining. Concerns about sports betting have been that it will lead to a gamification of sports. Gamification is when fans become more focused on gambling than following a team. Others, like trade groups that represent casinos, have predicted that the ruling will generate revenue without endangering the integrity of sports competitions. Analysts also believe it likely to be a boon for media companies, as allowing sports betting will likely benefit them due to fans becoming more deeply invested in sporting events, which in turn will result in higher ratings for these companies. Whatever the case may be, Nevada's practical and operational experience with decades of existing sports betting will be an essential factor. As mentioned, it won't just be the how-to aspect of running significant sports betting pools, but also through providing an example of high-quality legislation and case law. So, I think a few things have been happening in the live stream. Let me finish this section and I'll come back to it. I already spent some time in the live stream, live chat. So Nevada is known to have world-class state gaming regulations. The 80-plus year history of the Nevada Gaming Control Board has developed a robust gaming regulatory framework. So I will show that here. Yeah, so if... Right. So share. So if you go to my article on my website, professorslots.com/NV, it will take you to my Nevada slot machine casino gambling article. And apologies for the advertisements on the side. They'll be soon to be gone. So the usual structure, ownership, private ownership, the gaming control board. Then I try to put all the casinos in, which means I have to scroll quite a bit for Nevada since they have so many. And let's just move past that and get to the section. So these are all the casinos in Nevada, including the 2 tribal casinos, and then kind of where the states are around it and those on the border. Link to the Nevada slot machine casino gambling Facebook group, but then you have payout returns. So this is my section where I talk about payout returns, and I have a few things to say there. We won't go over right now. I'll say the theoretical payout limit is 75% for each wager, which is really low. Ohio, Pennsylvania, they're 85%. 10% is just huge, but they have 75%, and that's their choice. And then you could go here. It says on the Nevada Gaming Board and Nevada Gaming Commission, they have under gaming revenue information, statistical and publications. So let's go there. This is it here. There's these statistics and publications. One of them is called Gaming Revenue Information. We'll go there. And then the most recent, they show the current month, then they show a 3-month summary, and then a 12-month summary. It's a PDF for September 2020. That's what's currently available. And it should be another week, I think the 14th or 15th, middle of the month, that the previous month becomes available. So I'm, basically at page 3 or something. You'll see that they do statewide, and then they have all the different counties. Let's see, do I have a list? Yeah, they have a list. Yeah, this is the list. And so all these different counties, including inside these counties, some of these counties like Reno and Las Vegas, they'll have the Strip, they'll have downtown, they'll have North Las Vegas, they'll have them separated out. And even some of these, like on the Strip, they'll be, what's the revenue of the casino? So you get a real big breakdown. One of the things they don't do is tell you which ones have this much income. And I still have to sort of dig that out. I'll do that for somebody, and no doubt at some point. But this is the statewide, all locations. Okay, this is a slide on this. There's a bunch of table, counter, and card games at the top. And then down sort of in the middle section here is slot machines, and they give out payout returns for the month, 3-month average, 12-month average for penny slots, nickel slots, quarter slots, dollar slots, megabucks, $5, $25, $100, multi-denominational, and then other, and then totals. And so the win percent here is 7.2% on all of the slot machines, which is kind of a hold percent. What's a win percent? What's a hold percent? I subtracted from 100, so it would be 74% on average for all slot machines in all of Nevada for all denominations. Then you can go to other pages and look for, specific parts of Nevada, the Strip, downtown, etc., Reno, Lake Tahoe South, Lake Tahoe North, and you can see what it would be and where the best odds are. I will point out that it is under 90% for penny machines statewide. That's as I've mentioned in the past, penny machines have the worst odds in almost everywhere. There's like one Colorado city that doesn't, and I haven't really seen it anywhere else. It's just, you get twice as good odds on nickel, of which there are 100 locations, 1,016 machines, or there's 45,000 machines at 244 locations in Nevada. So you start looking through all this and you're just like, I should play a nickel machine. Unless you have the money to play a $25 machine. But watch out for that, because really big wins can cause, a skewing of the data. So this is the sort of thing that Nevada is just great for. They've been doing it for a long time, and that's just wonderful. So there's more on Nevada, kind of the things they provide. There's one of the other things that they provide is there's a how-to section here. Let's see if I can find it. Home. Try the home. Right. So what's new? And then there's I have a link to it at my webpage. I guess. Nope, took it out. Anyway, there's a how-to place where you can search for content in the Nevada Gaming Commission website, and it's just wonderful to see all the things that you can find, particularly helpful for other states, international gaming jurisdictions, including having the ability to bring those people in, to take them to your state, the professionals, and in the Gaming Commission who can explain things. So this is international, this is individual states, and so there's let's see, the Nevada gaming regulators, such as former chairman Dennis Nylander of the Nevada State Gaming Board, discussed with news reporters about regularly talking with government officials from around the world that look to Nevada for guidance. In his own word, Nylander has said, quote, "It's usually an exchange of ideas. They'll ask about the structure of the agency or about best practices. How the industry is regulated differs around the world. Some things can work well in Nevada, may not work well in Singapore, Australia, or Canada, or among the various states." End quote. Nylander continues his interview with the Las Vegas Sun in 2011. It's an article called, so the Las Vegas Sun is the newspaper. Its article is called, "Is Nevada Still the National Leader in Gaming Regulation?" And in that article, he states that starting such conversations, he states that conversations started with him, include saying, his saying in response, quote, "Here's what works for us in Nevada. It may not work exactly like that for you, or you may need to modify it, but it's served us well," end quote. Or, quote, "Here's what hasn't worked for us," end quote. So these gaming regulators are available, maybe for a fee, to other gaming jurisdictions around the world, and are regularly used that way. Looks like we got some comments in the live stream. Trying to be sensitive of when, we're out of time, but we still have a couple of minutes. Right. So, Catherine? Yes, Catherine's here. Hi, Ashley. Ashley, hello. She says, hello from South Africa. So I will put her up on the screen and say, where are you at? I'm trying to find, yes. Hello, right back from Ohio in the United States. It's great to have international people. We're seeing more and more of that, which is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So let's see. Right, I already got up to that. Mario has a whole bunch of questions. So if you want to, can we make consistent profit from slot? I think that's part of what he's saying. If you learn the techniques and you find a casino that depends on their doing what I'm showing you to take advantage of, yeah. But there's also things like, I don't expect people to. And the reason why I don't expect people to is I think if they win anything, they get to spend that playing more slots. I think for a lot of people, and maybe it's a good survey question to ask, I think I'm helping them stretch their dollar. I think it's all going to be spent, but if they can win a little bit more, they can play a little bit longer. So what you choose to do with your winnings is really on you. Yeah, you can make a profit, but if you decide, hey, great, I came here to spend $200. I just won $1,000. Now I'm here to spend $1,200. Feel free. Do with it what you want. But those people who want to make a profit can. But there's consequences. Like if you go to a casino which doesn't do any of the things I show you how to take advantage of, you can't make it happen. You need the casino to do these things so you can do them in return. If it's, I can't affect luck. I can only affect skill, right? Luck is the universe's problem. Skill means an education and learning. Plenty of people are making a profit at gambling by slots using my techniques. They're posting all the time on my slots on my Facebook groups. But that's only because their goal is to make a profit. And there's plenty more people whose goal is not a profit; it's entertainment. So, yeah, and I think what you just said was how. Well, I explained that in my channel. There's 7 techniques. There's another one. There's money management skills. There's gambling records. That's I give tips all the time. Be consistent. Listen for. Well, I only have like 10 seconds left. Let's see. Octavia just woke up. Use the reminder next time. Let's see. We always get this, like in the last 5 minutes, in the live chat, which none of you can see. So Octavia says they're up. Following my strategy, and didn't say which one, probably the number one, and have been up on Jackson for the last week, about $400. Wonderful. Let's see. All right. Nadine says, great show, makes you think. That's what I do. I talk about, if you want to walk into a casino and look around and wonder what's going on, I can help. So if you want to think about it, I got stuff to tell you, and the stuff that's worked for me. I'm only sharing what works. I'll tell you about stuff that I've tried that didn't work, just so you know that doesn't work, or it didn't work at my casino. And this is all the things I've tried, but these are the things I haven't tried. And so we go on and on about that. I'll have a lot more about that when I start getting back to the casino, which should be fairly quickly nowadays, and start saying, this is what I tried to find out, and this is what's going on, and what I learned, and casino by casino by casino by casino. So yeah, that's it. I've out of time. I've been running over the last couple of times, and that's just rude of me. So I think we had a good show, and I certainly believe so. And I tried to have that. So it looks like the new computer worked, and less chin fat showing. That's all. That's awesome. Right. So, hey, everybody, you take care, and have a great day. I will talk to you next Saturday. Bye. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. This is the next segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is American Samoa slot machine casino gambling in 2020. Here goes. American Samoa slot machine casino gambling does not exist. Island residents enjoy bingo. The minimum legal gambling age on American Samoa does not exist because all gambling activity is illegal on this U.S. island territory. Legally, bingo is not gambling here and is a popular pastime of residents on the island. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live on this U.S. territory and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. The legality of private ownership of a slot machine on this island territory is unknown. As gambling is illegal, American Samoa has no gaming control commission. In this section, I'll discuss American Samoa gambling establishments. There are no land-based casinos on the islands of American Samoa. Bingo exists, especially in the capital city of Pago Pago. American Samoa's Pago Pago Cruise Port Terminal is a tourism stop for cruise ships from international destinations such as Sydney, Australia, and Auckland, New Zealand. Tautau Hall, located in Pago Pago, the capital of American Samoa on the island of Tutuila, holds bingo games on Mondays through Saturdays each week. International cruise ships visiting the Pago Pago Cruise Terminal have onboard casinos available to passengers while cruising in international waters. There are no tribal casinos on the U.S. island territory of American Samoa. As an alternative to enjoying American Samoa slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state or territory. Near American Samoa is, to the northeast, Hawaii, and to the northwest, Guam and Northern Mariana Islands. To visit any of my articles on this U.S. state and island territories, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com followed by its two-letter postal designation. For example, my Hawaii slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/HI. American Samoa is located halfway between Hawaii and New Zealand in the South Pacific. Pago Pago International Airport, also known as Tafuna Airport, has weekly flights to and from Hawaii. Hawaii is located 2,600 miles to the northeast of American Samoa. The U.S. territories of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands are 3,600 miles to the northwest. Otherwise, Samoa, formerly known as Western Samoa, is 50 miles northwest of American Samoa. It is a former colony of the British Empire with international flight options to the U.S., Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and more. The independent nation of Samoa approved gambling and established a gaming control commission in 2010 with the Casino and Gambling Control Act. The Gambling Control Authority regulates gaming on Samoa, including a significant horse racing track on its capital of Apia. The principal notion for casino operations on Samoa is an operator running a junket-based business. Junkets are when an operator brings guests in from another location, houses them, and looks after their daily needs while they gamble. Provisions of Samoa's Act does not permit locals entry to the casino. Gamblers must hold either a foreign passport or be a registered guest at a resort or hotel. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts on American Samoa? If so, join our American Samoa slots community on Facebook at ProfessorSlots.com/FBAS. All you'll need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near American Samoa. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, ProfessorSlots.com/FBAS. Join us. No theoretical payout limits or return statistics exist for the U.S. territory of American Samoa as gambling is illegal. In summary, American Samoa slot machine casino gambling does not exist. Bingo is popular among residents, but it is not gambling according to the territorial government. Over the last year, there has been no change to the slots gaming industry of American Samoa. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast will include a live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Next week's live stream will be about what would happen if you won a $60,000 hand pay jackpot. As my old martial arts instructor used to say, are you ready? Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from noon until 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy to remember link to my YouTube channel is youtube.com/ProfessorSlots. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long live Q&A session. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. state of Arizona. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are on my website at professorslots.com/episode 116. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.